By CDW on this February 2nd. Kyle, is this going to be Groundhog's Day? Tom Brady runs back to the Super Bowl again? Wins the Super Bowl again?
Yeah, I think so. I do. I think he is the Ned Ryerson or maybe the Chris Elliott of the NFL. We'll be here same time, same place next year. And it might be Mahomes again, too.
That's Kyle Brandt, Peter Schrager, Nate Burleson, all here. You can tweet our show at GMFB with your thoughts as we hit the lead block.
Lead block.
Lead block.
Welcoming in Omar Ruiz. He is with the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. Sarah Walsh, good morning to you. You're with the Bucs there in Tampa. Omar, we could see Leonard Fournette just run through the gap into the secondary and come face to face with Tyrann Mathieu. What's the history between these two guys?
Yeah, playoff Lenny, Leonard Fournette, 3 touchdowns in these 3 playoff games. Someone who can see this success coming. Tyrann Mathieu, of course, they're both LSU legends, but they go back even further than that, attending the same high school, St. Augustine in New Orleans. Of course, years apart, but Mathieu saying he knew about Leonard Fournette way back when. Fournette was bigger than him then. He's bigger than him now, but Mathieu saying he's always been the big brother. He says when they meet on the field in the Super Bowl, it'll be a special moment, one that he hopes 40, 50 years from now they could look on in fondness. He said he is proud of the player Fournette, has become even more proud of the man and the father that Leonard Fournette is. All love between Tyrann Mathieu and Leonard Fournette. There's another love fest between a couple players on these two teams. For more on that, let's send it down to Sarah Walsh.
For all that is being made about the greatness of the quarterbacks in this game, the same could be said about the tight ends. Rob Gronkowski and Travis Kelce rank 1 and 2 in the postseason when it comes to receiving yards at their position. But it is Kelce that tops the list of Gronk fans. He said Gronk is a staple, and it was Gronk's dominance that fueled him to have an impact at the position. He said Gronk transcended that position, but it's Gronk who believes Travis Kelce has really evolved it. Gronk said this position used to be overshadowed by wide receivers, but he believes Kelce is who really put the position on the map. He called him the best player on the Chiefs offense. And while it may be a love fest between the two, here's what Todd Bowles, the Bucs defensive coordinator, doesn't love: having to deal with Travis Kelce. He told us he's one of the guys that you sort of marvel at when you get a chance to watch him, just not when you're trying to stop him, okay?
Hey, Sarah, how's the weather down there?
It is incredibly windy. I'm a Floridian, so I would say the feel-like temperature is 6 degrees, but that's probably not realistic. It's in the 50s, but it does feel a lot colder. For all of you that are coming down here when it gets closer to the weekend, we will make sure the weather is warmer. I think it's going to be about 75 by the time this thing kicks off on Sunday. But today, not a good one in Florida.
Not a good one. Omar Ruiz is like, I'm in the Kansas City. I don't feel bad for you still down there in Tampa. Love you too. Talk to you in a bit. And we appreciate you. You mentioned Travis Kelce and Rob Gronkowski. So many fun moments with Gronk, of course, delivering gems throughout Super Bowl week this year, going into years past. Yesterday, he took us back to that time when they were doing those virtual workout sessions, and he snuck one past the Bucs strength and conditioning coach. Take a look.
Because every time I had to film myself and send it in, you know, in order to get credit for the workout and stuff. So like that was kind of getting a little annoying. But then I started tricking him because I would bring my shirt out, and then I would bring another shirt out. So when I'm running the sprints, I would film myself like 15 times for that session, that workout session. But I would run it in a couple different shirts because you only had to send in like 2 or 3 reps. So then when the next time came, I didn't have to film myself because I already filmed myself running in a different shirt every time on that one day. And he hasn't had a clue to this day that I was tricking him about half the time during those virtual workouts.
Nate, and then he wonders when he's telling me why BA is yelling at him, get this blank out of here. He's doing that because he sent in those fake virtual workouts. What do you think about this? And really more in general about Brady and Gronk. Has Tom Brady's impact on the Buccaneers been felt more on and off the field? What do you think, him and Gronk, the combo?
First of all, Gronk is a wild dude. For him to just admit that,
I'll have what he's having.
It's hilarious because I'm raising a 16-year-old and the 14-year-old, and we're doing virtual school. And sometimes I'm looking at them like, what are you doing? They're laying in bed. They got YouTube playing. And I'm like, do you have all A's? And I'm like, you and your friend group, you guys are sharing answers. I don't believe you guys are doing this 100% the right way. But shout out to Gronk for being completely transparent. To answer your question, though, Tom Brady's impact on the Buccaneers, I believe it's on the field. I get it. He's showing these guys how to be professionals. But not everybody's Tom Brady. Not everybody's going to make the money he's made. Not everybody's going to have the brands, partnerships, and endorsement that he's had over his career. It's on the field. After talking with Tom Brady yesterday, talking with JPP last week, the one thing these guys keep saying is we want to share our experience of winning the Super Bowl with our teammates. And usually it's a guy that says, I can't wait to win another one, which says it's all about them. No, for Tom Brady, it's about showing these guys that, one, you can get to a Super Bowl if you put the work in. Two, this is how it feels. And that's why I feel like the impact on the field is going to last much longer than off the field. You can't parallel your career to Tom Brady. It's just not the case. There's only so many guys that can do that. But what these guys can do, if they indeed do win this, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they can move forward for the rest of their lives and give the same gift that Tom Brady just gave to them to another young player. And that right there is the definition of passing it forward.
But Nate, isn't that off the field, right? That's not his 17-yard out pattern. It's the effect of Tom Brady, the halo effect of Tom Brady. And this goes back to the summertime. I'll take you to early August. And I was texting sources within the Tampa Bay organization, just fascinated. Like, how's Brady look? Is his arm shot? And every single person, to a man, was saying, oh my God, this guy, the players are rallying around him in a way that we have never seen before. Now, granted, that might be some sort of slight to Jameis Winston. It shouldn't have been. This might be some slight to Mike Glennon. It shouldn't have been. That organization changed overnight when Tom Brady deemed them worthy enough of him joining them. Then you get to August, and the text that I were getting and the phone call I was getting about Devin White and Levante David, it was intoxicating. And now you see this team and you're like, oh, I get it. I'm going to go back to September 10th. We had to make Super Bowl predictions, and I'm going to pat myself on the back. Nate and Kyle, I know you guys also picked the Buccaneers out of the NFC, but this is no surprise to those who were listening to the way those Buccaneers players were talking. Let's take a watch at my Super Bowl prediction from a very tan version of this face. Guys, guess who I have representing the National Football Conference in the Super Bowl? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are also going to be representing the NFC. I guess, I don't know what, this could be an all-time freezing cold take that 3 of the 4 hosts, and potentially 4 if Cave takes them as well, are taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have not been to the playoffs since 2007 and have not had a playoff win since 2002, to go to the Super Bowl and be home when they play that Super Bowl. It's Brady. That was because of Brady. It wasn't because of the great Scotty Miller stories. It wasn't because of Evans or Godwin. All those guys were there. Brady, Brady, Brady. And to me, that's off the field. Yes, he can replace Winston and be an upgrade at quarterback. But what he did to that building this season and what he did to that franchise, and more importantly, that fan base, there's a reason for them to hold their heads high. They are the creme de la creme of that conference. And Tom Brady brought everybody along with him on the ride. Off the field, that's his biggest impact.
Peter, I agree with you. Let's not sleep with what he's done on the field. Tom Brady this season had the longest streak in NFL history without throwing a road interception. I mean, he played very good football for some stretches, and yet I still come back to off the field. And here's my story time. When Tom Brady showed up, the Buccaneers were a joke. And I mean that literally. I'm not saying that gratuitously. All the conversation about them was jokes and pick sixes and eating W. It was a joke. And I know this because Kay and I went there at the very end of the last season that Jameis Winston had, and we've talked about this week, and there was all this talk in pregame, and I was doing this thing about, I bet Jameis Winston either throws a touchdown or an interception on the very first play of the game. And it was such a joke, but kind of real, that as we're sitting there in the stadium next to the pirate ship, we ended the broadcast by flipping a coin, literally, to see if it would be an interception or a touchdown. Here's how it looked.
I think we should decide it right now, okay? Let's not leave it to fate, all right?
What do you mean?
Here, you take the mic.
Okay.
Let's do If Jameis throws a touchdown first, it's heads.
Do you have some
Interception
booty?
first, it's tails. I got booty jokes for days.
Okay,
Ready?
booty jokes for
Here we
days
go,
and some
guys.
booty in his hand. Oh, you're
And
putting it
it's-
to chance.
It's a touchdown!
A touchdown first for Jameis Winston.
Let's go get him.
It should be a high-scoring affair here. Fans are already pouring in. This is a playoff atmosphere.
First play of the game, guess what? We were wrong. First play of the game, pick 6. Bradley Roby gone. Now, I've been to a lot of sporting events, some of them pretty cool. I've never been to one as strange as this. Jameis would go on to throw 4 interceptions in that game. We know how that ended. It's not about Jameis. Here's why I bring this up. Because Kay and I are standing by the Houston Texans sideline. And the second that Bradley Roby intercepted that pass, the Texans players started laughing. Not cheering, not hooting and hollering, laughing. I turned around, looked up in the stands at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans in jerseys and face paint and helmets. They're laughing. They're laughing at the team because what else could you do at that point? It had reached a joke status. That is what Tom Brady has changed. Their own fans laughing at their own misfortune in a home game they needed to win has all gone away, and now they're in the Super Bowl. We can talk about Brady interceptions, Jameis interceptions. No, Tom Brady has taken that entire stadium and said, get on my back. I will take you to the Super Bowl in this stadium. That same place we were standing, they will be kicking off Sunday with Tom Brady as their quarterback. That's what he's changed.
Kyle, you and I decided when that interception was thrown and you saw those fans to just do a lap. And it was unlike any, I'll never forget it in my whole life, to do a lap. And everyone's like, it's okay, Kay. And Kyle's screaming from the stands at us like, this is what it is. This is what it is. And it's not that, because what Tom Brady brings is what I saw him bring in my years living in New England, living on the East Coast and covering this team. It's accountability. That's what he brings to this team. I really, truly believe there's a sentiment that he brings to get the best out of his players. You don't want to disappoint Tom Brady. I've seen it in press conferences with Rob Gronkowski. His loyalty to him is unmatched, I think. You don't want to be the Wes Welker. Do everything you can to not have that happen. And that's how I think he gets the best out of these guys off the field. On the field, Schrags, just thought it was interesting. The narrative around this squad was this team was 7-9, talking about what Kyle's mentioning and how bad they were. They just need this. They just need a steady hand, a guy who's not going to turn the ball over. Well, he brought this and then a whole lot more throughout the season, and it's why they're in the Super Bowl in their backyard. Let's bring in Ian Rappaport now at the age of 43, no less. Ian, we've got some news to take care of course. COVID-19, the storyline, the underlying storyline of the season. You never want to see 5 days out any players put on the reserved COVID-19 list. But what's the latest and what happened yesterday?
Well, we'll start with the positive news. No member of the Kansas City Chiefs, player or staffer, has tested positive for COVID-19. My understanding is over the last round of testing. That is the good news. The reason why I asked and the reason why we're talking about this is because 2 Kansas City Chiefs players yesterday were placed on the COVID-19 reserve list, not because they were positive. They didn't test positive for COVID-19. They are not, as of now, out for the game. Instead, these 2 guys, Daniel Kilgore and Demarcus Robinson, a reserve center and one of several of their receivers, both of these guys were deemed high-risk close contacts because they were in the vicinity for an extended period of time of someone who did, in fact, test positive. They were wearing masks. All parties were wearing masks, but still, they were in the vicinity, so they are deemed high-risk close contact. The person that they were in the vicinity of who tested positive was their barber. Basically, the barber that the team brought in found out he tested positive. These were the 2 guys who had received their cuts. Everyone is now going to quarantine, and based on the timing of this, it wasn't yesterday actually, the Chiefs actually found out the day before. Based on the timing of this, these 2 players can be cleared on Saturday and travel with the team as they head to Tampa on Saturday. So as of now, nothing that will affect the game, but obviously something we will continue to watch.